Don't cough or sneeze or snort or clear your throat without muting the microphone.
I will try.
We just went live. YouTube.
Yeah, I can get the notification.
The following is a paid program. 103.7 WTIP and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IPX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIPFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genois Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC. Now, here is your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
Welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, and I'm with Jameson Taunton. Yes, we are related. My oldest son, been working with me now about 13 years. And second program I believe he's been on, and I mentioned to you last year we were going to change things up a little bit. I've been soloing for 32, 33 years, and now we have a co-pilot. And I think it'll make things better and also prepare him for the day that he wants to do it on his own. All right, I've got a little bit of information to give you before we go to the first break. And then after the first break, James and I are going to have a conversation about a couple of topics. But, as always, we would much rather you call in with a question about something that is pertinent and personal to you. So the number that you call to ask us a question is 561-TALK. This is area 252. 561-8255. 561-8255. And also, as always, if you call in with a question, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Ottavola. I'll even pay the tip. So yes, only program I've ever heard of that pays you to make a phone call. Most of them you call in, you have to answer a question correctly or something to that effect. But nah, call in with a question. Your name goes into the drawing. And since we have 13 to 15 names on the list, we will pull a name out. We do that on the air. And love to send you eat. Ottavola is a great place to eat. First of all, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, I am predicting another very positive year for the market. I think we'll be up double digits, which is 10% or more for the year. I also believe it's going to be a positive year for bonds because I believe interest rates will come down some from where they are now. So the old traditional 60-40 portfolio, 60 equities, 40 bonds, probably will do quite well, but I'd still rather be in equities because equities is going to outperform bonds. And I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago also that we were looking at a 5% plus GDP in 2006. I still believe that's the case. But I will tell you that the Atlanta Fed had estimated a GDP growth in the fourth quarter of 5.4% annualized, which would have meant we already met the 5% that we mentioned. But they are revising that estimate down to 4.2, mainly because gold exports and pharmaceutical exports were down considerably, so the trade deficit went up 95% from the last measurement. And that's put a little ding in the GDP growth. We still got to go over 5%, I believe, and maybe even 6. I don't think we'll do 7. based on everything I'm reading and hearing. But it's still going to be strong. All right, let's go to about a 2-minute break and give you a chance to call in, and we'll take your call when we come back. But call the number 252-561-TALK, 561-8255, and we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Speaking, Jim Jameson talking and we have a lot of ways for you to make contact with us or experience the program. And one of them, of course, is probably what you're doing right now, listening on radio. That's by far our largest audience. You know, WTIB 103.7 is a 100,000-watt station, and the way they've engineered the antenna, the signal is actually stronger toward the northeast, but we still get around towards Jacksonville, Wilson, West. But when we go northeast, man, we've got Elizabeth City, Southern Virginia. Actually, I've gotten calls from Southern Virginia and Elizabeth City, a lot of them, Elizabeth City, Ahoskie, that area. But anyway, our listening audience on radio is the largest audience we have. But we've had another means of you hearing / watching the program, and we've added one, or will add one. The other one that's been on is YouTube. We're live on YouTube, have been for probably about 6 years now. So if you want to watch us do the radio program, then you go to the YouTube channel. You just search for @Financially Speaking NC in the YouTube search bar. You'll find it, and click on that live button in the middle, and you'll go to the live program, and also to list all the programs we've done. They're archived on the YouTube channel. But also, while you're there, hit that subscribe button if you would, please, and you'll get notifications from now on when we go on the air. But we also are adding another one. We were on Facebook, Jameson, as you know, for probably, 3, 4, 5 years, somewhere in that range. But I was handling that myself, and it just got to be pretty arduous dealing with Facebook. I was in Facebook jail probably every other week for doing things I didn't know were not allowed. There's some funny stories I could tell you, but I won't take our time for that. But anyway, we're going to go back on Facebook Live, and it's going to be broadcast on my personal Facebook, and the radio station's actually handling that. Thought we had it set up, but I guess we have a little glitch. So maybe by next week, we'll be live on Facebook. So there you go. Now, Jameson ran across a couple of nice videos webinar type videos. They were short, but succinct and good stuff. I was reminded of a phrase that I've heard, but it's an excellent phrase to live by in the investment world. It's time in the market, not time in the market. Jameson, explain exactly what that means.
Yeah, so these the videos were from a fund company, American Funds, one of the oldest fund companies, ones that we use quite often, and they always have a lot of good information that they provide. But the two videos, the first one talk about, like you said, it talks about the importance of focusing on time in the market and not timing the market when investing. Historically, the amount of time spent in the market has a lot more of an impact on positive market outcomes than market timing. You know, if you're scrolling through
what is market
different
timing? What is
market timing is the illustration or something you can picture that really helps kind of explain it. You know, you see kids on the playground doing double dutch with jump rope, and you've got the one in the middle just waiting to jump in, trying to figure out the best time to get in. You know, you have people that are sitting around, you're looking at different elements of the market, trying to determine when is the good time to invest, or on the other side, when is the best time to get out. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, that ends up hurting them more than helping them. So they see the market maybe drop a little bit and they get scared and hop out. Or maybe they see a turnaround in the market in a positive way and they try to get in, just trying to get that little bit of extra. And it ends up hurting them more than helping them.
Yeah, I have shared on this program a number of times that twice in my 45-year career, I've actually sold my advisory clients completely out of their positions going to cash. Only twice in 45 years. So I'm definitely not a timer. There was a fundamental issue there that caused me to do that. But you're absolutely correct. If you're out of the market some of the best trading days, then you really shoot yourself in the foot for long-term return.
Yeah, we've seen numerous times from a lot of different sources, you know, missing even the top 10 trading days of a year drastically affects the outcome and the performance of your account throughout the year. So it really doesn't take much. But one of the main things that kind of hit home the point they were trying to make was looking at a chart showing the historical performance of the S&P 500 index from 1950 until now. So over that time period, we've had 11 bear markets. A bear market is a 20% drop from the market high. So those bear markets have been downturns between around 20 to 21%, all the way up to 57%, which if you just look at those numbers, obviously sounds scary. But I think that the more telling number is that those bear markets only lasted between 3 and 31 months, with majority toward the lower end. So big drops don't last too long. You know, those things are caused by geopolitical tensions, recessions, disease outbreaks, kind of like we saw with COVID. But on the other end, during that same time period, 1950 to current, we've had 12 bull markets, which up 20% from the low.
That lasts a lot longer.
A lot longer, from 48% on the positive side up to 582%. And those last between 26 and 147 or so months. And those always happened after the bear market. So, yeah, the downturn seems scary, but stay in the market. It's about market, how long you're in the market, not timing the market. So
let me throw a little curveball. Because of my age, I've dealt with a lot of, I know I don't look it, but I'm upper 60s. A lot of my clients have either retired or near retirement. And they don't have a whole lot of time to overcome these downturns. And there's something called sequence of returns. It's a popular phrase these days, which simply addresses the fact that if you have negative returns early in your retirement when you're drawing income from your invested assets, it makes it very difficult for your account or accounts to recover because you're drawing plus you lost value. So it's just very, very difficult. Is there something that people can do to mitigate that negative sequence of returns possibility in their portfolios after they've retired?
Yeah, not all client accounts and situations have the luxury of time. But one of the ways that we can kind of overcome or address the risk of that you were talking about, looking at different sources of income, some that even offer guarantees, some that are not dependent on market performance. So, if we do have some downturn in the market, the economy, account value goes down, it doesn't affect the income as much. It doesn't affect, the withdrawals that we're making for the client, because it's really the most important time period. And like you've pointed out, clients have been building up that account for, 30, 40 years while working. But once they stop working and we use that to generate income, there's still another 25, 30 years of management that we have to do. So it's even more necessary that we approach it with the tactical management that we do.
We're halfway through the program, so we need to go to a quick break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. But during the break, call us, 252-756-8. I can't remember.
561-8255.
561 talk. I told you I was older than I look. 561-8255. And we'll love to take your question when we come back. And your name goes into the drawing for the Identifitude Antavola. But also, when we come back, if we don't have a call, we're going to talk specifically about a couple things that can mitigate that sequence of returns risk. And probably don't want to miss that. So we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
We've been talking about income sources and the fact that in retirement it becomes a little more tedious because people, when they retire, Jameson, the greatest fear of retirees is outliving their income. And it's happened to many, many people, actually. Not in our firm, but it's happened to many people in general. And it's sometimes it's almost unavoidable. Depends on what markets do, when they do it, and that sort of thing. Unless you mitigate that risk with income sources that are guaranteed income sources, and preferably guaranteed income sources for life. In particular, in our firm, we do use variable annuities. And I've shared on this program before, we out of our office, including our branch office in Washington, we handle, over $200 million for clients. Of that, I'd say about 50 million or so is in variable annuities. Because when people retire, and many people, the only nickels they have to rub together is the money they've accumulated in their 401k. So when they retire, and 99% of people that retire move the money out of the 401k into an IRA rollover account with an advisor for various reasons, they want, they do that partially because they want some sort of guarantee of income, and because that's all they've got. And if that runs out, they're in the poorhouse. So if we can have enough to roll over that we can at least put enough in a VA. I don't like to put all they have in a rollover in a VA because I want some options. I want some liquidity and for emergencies, opportunities for travel and that sort of thing. If we put money in a variable annuity, basically we're treating that like the golden goose laying the golden eggs. You live off the eggs. You don't kill the goose. So we want to leave the principal alone if possible. But what we do with the VA is we add a rider to the account that is called a living benefit rider that guarantees the withdrawals they're making for the rest of their lifetime. So regardless of what happens with the account value, theoretically, let's say the account value was zero. Maybe we went into a 30-year bear market and we and the client fell asleep at the wheel. So they've got withdrawals coming out. The market went down, 1,000% over that 30 years. Well, guess the account's going to go to zero in that theoretical situation. But their income is guaranteed by the issuing company to continue until they die. Now that gives people, I call it Prozac for their retirement. It gives them some peace of mind. They can lay their head on the pillow at night and go, okay, I'm going to be able to pay my bills come Hades or high water. And that's what a lot of people are looking for. And that's what regulators really don't understand about the general public. The general public's not always looking for the absolute cheapest thing out there. They want security, they want guarantees, and they want to be able to sleep at night. And that's what the variable annuity with the living benefit riders do. Again, we would prefer not to put 100% of money coming out of a 401k in a variable annuity. I'd love to do 70-30 or 60-40 split, put enough to provide for the living expenses of the individual in the VA and guarantee that income amount. The difference goes into an advisory account so that they can have access to it when, if, and however they want to. Anything you'd like to add?
I was going to mention that it seems like today more than ever, there's a lot more focus on retirement planning, how advisors can handle that, what things we can roll money into. The SEC, it's becoming a bigger focus from them. So we really have to take the time to look at the client's overall portfolio, their goals, their time frame, their risk tolerance, purpose for their funds, and, project out 20 plus years. Retirement, like I mentioned earlier, is one of the most important periods in a person's life. They've worked hard to build something up, and we have to help them sustain their standard of living for the rest of their life. So it's something we really have to focus on even more, but variable annuity is a great tool. That's a kind of piece of the puzzle that we're putting together.
Yes, it is. There are just a lot of options out there. And the key is to work with an advisor that is not constrained by a company that he works for to use certain product or steer a client in a certain direction. And I can tell you the majority of the advisors that you go talk to are just that way. They get paid on a W-2. So they are being paid by a company, and their office is being provided by a company, a secretary is provided by a company, benefits are provided by a company. They're an employee. So guess who the loyalty is with? Well, our firm is what we call an independent planning and advisory firm, and I've always been independent. In 1979, when I went into financial services, I made a decision that I wanted to be an independent financial services person. Now, I will tell you, in the early years is tough because you're building a practice from scratch. You don't have a salary, but the benefits and rewards far outweigh what you pay in the early years. Now that I've arrived, this is our firm, our practice. We own the building. Now, I built the building we're in '87, bought the front building '84, so we've been at the same location since 1984. Hardly any advisors can tell you they've been at the same place that long. They move around a lot, trying to get a few more pennies on the W-2. We work for clients, just that simple. In the vast majority of cases, we're acting as a fiduciary. So we make recommendations that are coming from the client's side of the table that are in their best interest, not in the advisor's best interest or a company or broker-dealer's best interest. So if you're listening and you would like to talk with someone like that, that's working for you, and that will make recommendations that are best for you, let me give you some contact information. Our phone number at the office is 252-756-4700, 756-4700. And you'll have some options to select. You can select my extension or Jameson's extension, either one. Also, our email, mine is jim@jtauntonfinancial.com. Jameson's is jameson@financiallyspeaking.com. So you can contact us that way. Also, a very easy way to get a hold of us is go to the website, which is jtauntonfinancial.com. And there's a page, an inquiry page. You can go there, fill out some data, and it'll send us an email, and we'll definitely contact you. The first meeting with us is absolutely at no cost or obligation on your part. We just want to get to know you, make sure that we can communicate properly, that you get a warm, fuzzy feeling from the meeting, and then we can delve into helping you in some way in the financial realm. So give us a call, send us an email, get on the websites and inquiry. Any of those options will do, and we would certainly love to talk with you about anything, especially if you've got a 401k and you are in the red zone, within 5 years of retirement. You need to speak with somebody. There's no doubt about it. There's some very important decisions that you're going to have to make, and you need some advice, you need some input from somebody. So give us a call. But also, we do full-blown financial planning. Everybody needs financial planning. If you have two nickels to rub together, you need to do some financial planning, which includes looking at everything that makes you what you are financially. We're talking cash flow, net worth, insurance, estate planning, retirement, educational funding, the whole 9 yards. We look at everything with a financial plan. We also do insurance only. If somebody just needs some help with life, long-term care or disability, Jameson handles all of that for us, and we do that with hundreds of companies. So if there's a need there, we'll just search the market and find the best bang for the buck for the client.
And no matter what the need, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't really have much, never turned anybody away. So we both enjoy helping and teaching.
helping you